Hello everyone, good afternoon. Thank you for joining me today to discuss an incredible topic about circular fashion and upcycling of sustainable economical development and responsible consumptions. The fashion industry is one of the largest industry in the world, employing millions of the people and generating trillions of the dollars in revenue. Fashion industry is a huge. It is the world's third largest manufacturing sector, contributing to 2.4 trillions to the global economy. Is a slide is visible? Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Yes, slide is visible.
Ma'am, it's not yet started, Miss Parikh.
Okay, you let me know when we have to start, yeah?
Yes, yes.
No, I so it is a live, so that's why I've started.
No. We are just preparing. We will go live.
Okay, okay.
I will give one open introduction and then I will announce your name.
That's
and
what
give a
I said, okay, we are
Yeah.
live. I'm confused.
No, please.
I said, how come I immediately?
No.
Okay.
Can you please stop sharing the slide as of now, your screen? Thank you.
We were live. Why you people are laughing? Oh my God, you people. We were live. Well, okay, so please don't speak now. I'm going live, but don't speak now. Okay.
Oh, ma.
We were live.
whatever part of the world you are joining us from, Global Council for the Promotion of International Trade welcomes you all for this prestigious summit, Global Founders Council Summit. This summit designs to give members of the creative community, company owners, and entrepreneurs the chance to network with one another and work together to expand the reach and impact of their own brands and endeavors. It gives leaders actionable advice on how to improve their careers, expand their businesses, strengthen their communities, and start their own ventures. Whether you consider yourself an entrepreneur, a bootstrap founder, a maker, or otherwise, if you are building a company, you belong to Global Founders Council Summit. You will be joined by founders and mentors, as well as other like minded experts that are prioritizing and pursuing sustainable success. Sessions are held led by incredible founders who have actually done the thing you are trying to do, whether that's building a profitable business for the long term or locking down itself. GCPIT UK and Global Council for the Promotion of International Trade aims to transform the future of businesses and industry through sustainable business best practices. The primary goal is to promote a nationwide organization that harnesses the diverse capabilities and strengths of the countries to the creation of new industries resting on the sustainability. The Council will promote sustainable business models and best medium to long term personal nationwide creation of new industries over the medium to long term. Personnel from industry, academia, and the government will work together to go back to the basis of sustainability and to investigate and make recommendations on the applications of the technology, solutions, best use cases, and the required industrial structure, system, and rules. Through these activities, the Council will promote sustainable development with the aim of channelizing advance in sustainable development goals into promoting industry and reinforcing its international competitiveness. Let's begin this summit. I would like to call our first keynote speaker, Ms. Bhavini Parikh, founder and CEO, Banco Janko India. Ms. Parikh is remarkably committed social entrepreneur of India. She is a textile artist and fashion designer while being the founder and creative director of Banco Janko and Design Life Social Welfare Foundation. She is the Maharashtra State President of Skill Development Council at Women India Chamber of Commerce and Industry, WICCI, Regional Director at Global Village Connection, GVC, and is one of the founding members of Women in Indian Social Entrepreneurs Network, WISEN. And the topic on which she will be delivering her speech is circular fashion, upcycling for sustainable economic development and responsible consumption. Over to you, Ms. Parikh. Parikh, you are on mute. Kindly unmute yourself.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So, hello everyone. Welcome to GCPIT and hello, hello, hello.
Yes, we are able to hear you, madam. Please proceed.
Yeah, my screen has gone. I don't know how come. There is some issue.
we are able to see your presentation. You can just scroll down.
No,
since
but
it's
my
repeated.
screen is blank, totally blank. Some technical glitch. Can you give me some time, please?
Okay.
Yeah, now I can. Hello.
Yes, you are audible, Miss Parikh.
Oh no.
Yeah, can you move to the next speaker because you have moved out?
Yes.
Later come back.
So our next speaker is Miss Imade Bibowei Osuobeni, founder Tech Hub Africa, Nigeria. Miss Imade is a public policy advisor, inclusive digital economy advocate, and the founder of Tech Africa, a non-profit campaigning digital inclusion for women and girls in rural African communities. She has over 15 years of experience in public policy development, investment analysis, business strategy formulation and implementation, as well as project management, risk management, and organizational change management. And the topic on which she will be sharing her knowledge is digital inclusion inculcated to boost rural economy. Over to Ms. Imade. Ms. Imade, can you hear me?
Yeah, you. Good afternoon, everyone.
Yes, please proceed.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're visible
Okay.
as well as audible.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm very happy to be here. And to all our guests, we're super excited to have you as well. So like she said, I'm the founder of Tech Africa, and we're championing digital inclusion for women and girls in rural areas. And we do so by also ensuring that they have access to what they require to grow their businesses and also to learn. So this just takes us into what I'll be talking about today, which is how can digital inclusion drive the rural economy? Now, I'll be sharing firsthand information and insights because this is the work that we've been doing for a couple of months, and it's been very awakening and rewarding, okay? So just to put some context to it, when we talk about rural economy, it's not just agriculture. It is made up of both agricultural and non-agricultural sectors as well. However, based on the recent reports from the World Economic Forum, we find out that agricultural activities account for over one third of Africa's GDP, right? So it means that the agricultural sector and system in Africa is really, really contributing to the GDP of the continent. And we've had conversations around the need for us to leverage technology to grow the process from planting to harvesting to consumption, okay? But what we find that digital inclusion does is that it targets the person. It targets the individual. It's saying, how can we ensure that individuals are included and they're able to fully participate in the economy that is currently thriving? And that's one of the ways to actually reduce poverty. If you were able as a people and as a continent to ensure that the people who are playing in this sector are empowered, are equipped to participate in the economy. We're all aware about technology right now. E-commerce is booming, right? And then it means that if we want the rural economy to also boom, those individuals must be empowered and they must have the tools and the resources that they need to participate, especially in the rural economy. So I'm going to talk about 4 pillars of digital inclusion and how as founders and as stakeholders, we can come together to ensure that we do the work that needs to be done. So the first pillar is the part that speaks to infrastructure. How do we as stakeholders ensure that we have the infrastructure in the rural areas? How do we ensure that there's internet penetration? How do we strike a balance between seeking profit and putting the infrastructure where we feel like we'll get more customers and more sign-ups or more customers to pay for those services, and also strike a balance between providing access to those infrastructure? Because if there is no internet penetration, then people cannot fully participate in the digital economy, right? So how do we begin to think about that balance of saying, as business owners, how do we also achieve social good such that we work with government to deploy the required infrastructure for the community? The second thing that is important to drive digital inclusion is access to devices. Now, this is a first-hand experience. We've been to communities where there's actually penetration. So you have internet connectivity there. But these people, whether women or men, they don't have access to those devices. And the most common reasons are, oh, they're expensive. And where they're not expensive, they don't meet the needs of the people. So as founders, as people in business or nonprofit, how do we begin to create solutions that meet the needs of beneficiaries, especially for this second point of making the devices affordable, and not just affordable, how do they serve the people? We have been Can we have more voice-enabled features? Can we ensure that at least for some continents or some countries is needs-based? We have different languages, including those of local communities. And these are the real conversations, because if we're truly serious about achieving digital inclusion, then these are important considerations. And the third one, which links to devices, is literacy, right? Where we have spoken to them, and these people don't even know that there's something like the internet. They don't even understand the benefits of how to leverage internet for growth. They don't even understand that while they are currently crying of food wastage, if they're able to leverage technology, they can reduce that food wastage. So how do we begin to, as a people, have targeted conversations that are tailored in a way that these people can understand it? So it's not a one size fits all. It's how do we create communication materials or programs or context and content that these people can actually understand? Because if from the World Economic Forum's report, we are seeing that agriculture is contributing immensely to growth, then we should also ensure that the people that are actually doing this work are equipped. And so how do we begin to think about education? As founders, as business owners, can we begin to rethink education? Can we begin to localize it in terms of content and context? Because that forms a major role in seeing how these people are able to adopt what you're bringing to them. So we build the communities whereby we'll ask them questions like, are you interested? And they say no. But after the program that we deploy, using local languages and context and content, you see almost a 90% improvement in motivation and willingness to adopt technology. So what does that say? We must begin to rethink education, rethink literacy. How do we engage people in government, in private sector, to see, can we begin to create curriculums that are needs-based, that are localized, that have context and content that people can actually understand? And the final element of digital inclusion is the most interesting one, which is the engagement and actually making sure that they use it meaningfully. Again, like I said, we've been to communities where there's access, so they already have internet. We went to a community recently, they actually do have access to mobile phones, interestingly. But how many of them actually use it for prosperity? We only found 3%. That community had about 170 women that we interviewed. Only about 3% actually used their mobile devices for productive work. So the question becomes, while we're screaming more internet penetration, while we are pushing for more adoption, how do we ensure stakeholders' meaningful use of these resources? And this can only happen if we all come together to create solutions that work with intentionality, a great sense of purpose, with innovation and creative thinking. Because like I said earlier, if we're going to target poverty reduction, then we must target the people. It doesn't make any sense if we target an ecosystem that only has people who are privileged or people who can adopt technology. We want to ensure that no one is left behind and that we create an inclusive system that takes everyone, not equally, but based on what they require to get to where we want them to get to. And so those are the issues for me. And like I said, it's been from life experiences of just really pursuing digital inclusion in Africa and just saying, you know, how do we begin to rethink program design? How do we rethink smartphone production? How do we rethink literacy? And how do we also begin to rethink access and meaningful use? And I believe strongly that if we come together and we think about these problems intentionally, and we also dissect the data, because sometimes data, if not put in context, can be misleading. The reasons why you see digital exclusion in one place may not be the same for another community. So if you create a solution based on a particular data, you may create a program, but it may not work. So we must begin to intentionally create programs that are targeted, that are focused, that are tailored, that are evidence-driven, and then put in the work to refine, to test, and to ensure that we're creating a system that truly works. And so these are my few points, just for us to just think about and just to stimulate the conversation. Luckily, we have some other speakers here who will talk about technology and how that can be used for growth and then promotion and trade, because those are also important. For us at Tech Africa, we are saying, how can inclusion lead to prosperity? It doesn't make any sense if people have the tools and you're not seeing the effect in poverty reduction or social inclusion. So how can we draw the connection between giving this inclusion and making sure that it leads to something productive? And so that's just what I wanted to share with us today.
Thank you, Ms. Imade.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. So our next speaker is Ms. Bhavini Parikh, founder and CEO, Banku Jampu, India. Ms. Parikh is a remarkably committed social entrepreneur of India. She is a textile artist and fashion designer